I don't know if you guys have been watching the markets right now over these past month and some of the things that are happening geopolitically. I think this is going to hit us pretty hard this year, and I'm going to try to tease out some of the things that's going through my mind right now. I like to watch the bullion markets because it's a hard asset, and in a lot of ways it's similar to real estate. And if you've been watching it closely, we have gone up almost, I think, over and should be climbing beyond 250% since the beginning of 2025. So in 12 months, it went up from like roughly $30 all the way up. I think it even tapped 83, 84. I think we're at $80 right now, somewhere around that. And it is it's a symptom of what's happening globally. And there's a couple other things tied to it, because silver is also, I think, finally getting its flowers. It's been artificially suppressed, and I think people are starting to understand that right now. I remember seeing, I don't know the exact ratio, I'll put a screenshot, but there's, for every dollar of, or every dollar of real silver assigned, these paper markets, LMBA, CME, COMEX, they're putting out 10, 20, 30 times more paper representations of that 1 ounce of silver than is actual silver. And it's criminal. And the reason why they're doing it is there was a conspiracy. I mean, like, no one's ever going to say it, but like it is kind of a conspiracy in that they were trying to suppress silver. And now that global demand, and now this debt crisis that the whole world is in, everyone's retreating and fleeing the dollar. So they're de-dollarizing and fleeing to safer assets like gold, silver, Bitcoin, real estate. But the easy ones that people get into that are fungible are, gold, silver, Bitcoin, right? And things are starting to break. A couple months ago, we started loosening our monetary policy, which is, hang on, what? I ain't gonna jump. Us loosening our monetary policy, I think, started the things to create this chain reaction that we're going to see over the next 12 to 24 months. Silver being the bellwether, that one probably happened faster because silver is also an industrial material, and that's why I think it was artificially suppressed, because 60% of the silver consumed goes to tech. Every chip that's created, every Tesla battery uses silver. I remember reading somewhere the big Tesla batteries use 1 kilogram of silver, and they don't want to pay it, at gold's ratio of, in the historic, a 20 to 1 or 15 to 1, depending on whatever you want to use. They don't want to pay $400 silver. And now that there are some high-end analysts at respected firms like Bank of America saying that they're spotting it at $300 an ounce in the next year. There are some more fringe guys that are saying $1,300 an ounce if everything was to react the way they think it is. But I think this is all dependent on policies that are implemented at the country level. So you can't predict what human decisions, like there might be a single decision that's going to send it a whole direction, So, but there are people saying we're going to hit $300, which is crazy. I think that's I got on this train 4 or 5 years ago when I saw the United States double the national debt within 6 months. And so that's when I started learning about this silver manipulation. And the gold silver ratio getting to 100 to 1 was like, it sounds like it's going to balance itself out eventually. And I think we're way down now. I think we're down to like a 40 to 1. So back to it being a bellwether, it's showing the supply shortage. I did catch somewhere that the global mining capacity has been, global demand, what's been sold every year has been over what's been actually mined out of the ground every year for the last 3-4 years or something like that. Like silver mined roughly 800 million ounces per year, and there's like I believe I want to say there's one of the reports that said where there's a deficit of like 130 million ounces, and that's all getting gobbled up now. Now that non-industrial demand has picked up, and it's causing a stir. It's causing a crazy stir, um, and it's kicking up a lot of dirt. And I think it's actually even related to the Venezuelan thing, in that I know everyone's saying we're going into Venezuela for oil and resources. Yes, it's oil, but not just oil. Gold, silver, precious metals. This is one of the richest, resource richest countries in the world, and it's a small country relative to some of the other big players. And I caught an article that one of the first things that got secured in Venezuela was actually a silver smelter. So is evidence that this silver might have been one of the reasons why we went into Venezuela. I'll put a screenshot of that. So yes, so there's that on that Venezuela thing, man. I think there was a confluence of reasons why we went in there. If you think about it, so silver, I just mentioned that. I'm going to show you evidence of that. Oil makes sense. The fact that our debt to GDP is close to what we were at post World War II, and there's a chance that we're going to try to run the same play we ran back in the 70s with the petrodollar with Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia the petrodollar treaty expired like a year, 2 years ago or something like that. And there's been a de-dollarization across the world. There's no that demand for treasuries is gone. People are trying to find alternative ways to get around using dollars because we debase our currency, and it hurts everybody else, hurts the rest of the world too. And what we could be doing is go in there, set up some policies, let them do their thing, but they got to keep, set up this treaty for silver, set up this treaty with oil. And if you're going to buy, similar to what happened with Saudi Arabia, if you're going to buy oil from yada, 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 you got to use U.S. treasuries. So everyone's got to have some treasuries to trade with to get that oil. And it may not even be, that oil treaty may not even be necessarily for us, because we might even say, I believe China gets 30% of their oil from Venezuela. So we might even be in there, not just for oil for us, but to deny oil for competing nations, which is, again, confluence of reasons. We might have, so the silver thing might have been like the last checkbox. All right, now we got 10 reasons to go in there. Let's go do our thing. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I can see there are several strong economic reasons to go in there. And if they were to go in there and do what they did, they might have done it the least invasive way. We're not. I hope we don't end up occupying them for 10 years or something like that, cause another Iraq, Afghanistan type situation. But this is what people need to understand or realize is, if there's no global demand for treasuries, the perceived domestic inflation is going to be worse. And it's still going to take a while for it to get a wrangle on it. I was just looking this up. We signed the Saudi petrodollar treaty thing, I think, in 1974, and we didn't completely kill the inflation until 10 years later, 82, 84, something like that. And that was in combination with some extremely unpopular but necessary bitter pills from Paul Volcker at the Federal Reserve, choking the supply of treasury so that they can jack up interest rates. And yeah, this seems like a worse scenario than what happened in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to me. It's just mind-boggling. So, yeah, Venezuela. Holy crap, man! I hope this gets settled quickly. Why this is related to what we're talking about? It's like, well, I'm obsessed with gold and silver, but it's a hard asset, just like real estate. So even though we're not seeing it immediately, we're gonna see these loosening of the loosening monetary policy will inevitably affect us. It's gonna increase aggregate demand for buyers. Builders have had a chance to catch up, so supply and demand will be there, and I don't think we're gonna have the squeeze that we had, in 2020, or 2021, 2022. But volume will surely pump. Anyways, that's all I got right now. Let me know if you have any questions.